G'day and welcome to Storytellings with me, Moon Willow. I'm hoping to go back to daily ones now. I'm very conscious of the fact that it's been 3 weeks since I last did one of these, and I have really missed doing them and linking in with everybody's energies to see what's going off for each one of us on a daily basis. Past 3 weeks have been extraordinary and just so intense, and it's probably going to take me quite a while to process all of that, but it's incredible how the energies continue to weave. So even though I haven't been on here, I really felt the connection with you all on a regular basis, and I really believe that although I do this before it goes out, I record it and then upload it onto YouTube. I really feel that I've noticed that the energies really come in and are quite influential in the stories that I end up telling, and notice that the thoughts that come into my mind are coming from somewhere else, and I really feel that it is very much of a dragon energy, which is why I do end up saying at the end of this that here be dragons, because I found incredibly so recently on a daily basis that I feel very connected to dragons, and their energy is very much flowing through me, and feel that they have their say in what comes out in this particular medium. So that's part of the reason why I say here be dragons. And the storytelling, for me it's very much about integrating everything within. We seem to, on a daily basis, a minute basis, just get blown about by circumstances that are completely beyond our control. And we can wake up and we can think that we're going to do certain things in our life, certain things in our day, and we're flowing quite nicely, and there's like a rock in our path that trips us up. Or there's a thought, or you have a conversation with someone, or you go out and you think that you're just going to do A, B, and C, and then somebody comes along and puts a Z in the middle of it, which can be quite disconcerting, really. And it's like, at the moment, every time I look out into the world, it's like there's more restrictions, there's more you can do this, you can't do that, and which I find quite surprising, considering we're meant to be living in a free society. And I keep looking out there and thinking it just feels less and less free. But saying that, how we respond to it and how we listen to ourselves and the stories we tell around the things that are happening out there, we are free to choose that. We are very free to look at how we're feeling about things and own and honor that, so that we can be more authentic in everything that we do, no matter what gets thrown at us out there. Before I move on, I just want to remind you all, please hit that subscribe button, and hit like or dislike depending on how you feel about this particular video. I really appreciate it. And also the other thing, if there's anything that I come out with through the storytellings and you would like some more information for yourself, I do individual storytellings as well, and you can contact me through my website or Facebook or Instagram. I'm on all of those mediums. Oh, and LinkedIn as well. So I've really tried to step into the modern age, which, trust me, has not been the most easiest of things to do, but it's quite liberating to find the things that we think are difficult or that we're just not going to be able to do, and have a go at it anyway. And we may make mistakes along the way, or it may go completely tits up for an old expression, But the idea is just to keep working on ourselves, keep looking inwards, and keep having a go, because along the way I feel that things will end up making sense. I'm hoping things will end up making sense. So with that in mind, I think we'll start with a crystal. If you just focus on the crystal bag, and we'll see. Oh, that one jumped in. So we've got carnelian. So that's around our sacral space. So our sacral space is very fluid, very feminine energy, and has several different ways of influencing us. So it's not just about sort of sexuality or sensuality, but it's also about creativity and how we create our lives in the world. Creating what sort of life we want. It's also creating stories, singing, colouring, doing sewing, just creating a safe space for us to live in, creating the way of being that we choose to live. So creativity is a really, really broad and very powerful as well, and it's about how we flow through the world as well from that creative space, and how we flow into the type of life we would like to have for ourselves. And we can dream as big as we want and put out for that to be manifested. So that could be as simple as going out for a walk on a daily basis, or creating a retreat, or it could, our mind is the only limit that we put on there, really. So go on to the cards within that. So if you could just hold any energies around what information we would like to have coming out today, and split those. Quite like splitting cards, that's fun. I like the feel of those ones. Right, let's see what we have today. So we have letters, a book, and a woman, which is coming through to me as the divine feminine, which is pretty much where we're sitting in the world at the moment. So starting with letters, it's information that is coming in. So it's information we haven't yet received. So at the moment it feels like we're trying to understand what's going off in the world and how that affects us, how we feel about it in our bellies, how we would like to create a different world or not, that we might be comfortable in the world that we're in at the moment, and that's more than okay. It's the sense we make of it. So this is very much about information that's yet to come in. So we haven't received it yet. Now that might come in later on today, or in another couple of days, or even a couple of months, but my instinct around this is it's something for today, that as we're going about our day-to-day life, that a bit of information will come in, and it won't necessarily be an actual letter, that it's the way we hear a bird sing, or we have a conversation with somebody and it's the words that they use just make sense of something that we haven't quite understood. You know, those days where you've got something nagging at the back of your head or something on the tip of your tongue that you can't quite access that bit of information, and that's because that hasn't come in yet. So we already feel that it's coming in, but it hasn't materialized at the moment. So for me, that's what that's about. And then the book, and this is quite intriguing because we've got the letters and the book together, and both of them are essentially very similar to each other. But the book for me is that it's the information we already have inside. So we already have a sense of what we want to create. We already have a sense of how we would like to flow in the world. but we haven't taken the time to allow that to be revealed to us yet. So it is about really taking that period of space where we can actually really go inwards and really connect underneath with how we're feeling at the moment. Because for me, the sacral is very much about feeling and sensing and just working out what sort of life we want to create and how we feel in our own bodies as well on that particular level. So the letters or the information is going to come in, which is going to open up the next chapter. Wow. So it's about the next chapter of our lives in how we would like to live. So the information's coming in. It will sit in our sacral, so sit in our creative fire. And from that will spark our next chapter in how we choose to live our lives, how we choose to respond to what's going off around us, and how we choose to flow through this world as well. Because we always have choice, even in those times where we really don't think that we have, that we think that everywhere we look there's a restriction, there's a block, there's all manner of things in the way. But actually, if we listen for that information and take that within, we get to read or we get to walk in a different manner that is actually comfortable. And it already exists in us, but we don't always give ourselves the time and space to do so. There's always something else out there to do. And it's quite uncomfortable at times just to sit with us and take responsibility for how we're reacting and responding in the world. And that then means that we tend to choose to avoid, to numb out, to distract from what's going within, because that can be uncomfortable. And if we're learning how to take responsibility for the way that we're feeling, it's uncomfortable to see that we have got a choice in how we react or how we move, or how we feel, or how we've interpreted what's going off around us, because the onus is on us. In every moment we actually have a choice as to how we progress forward, and that's hard to accept sometimes. And it's like I have lots of books that I want to be reading at the moment, and I somehow managed to distract myself from reading them. And I did that in the past 3 weeks, not just by having a lot to do and being very involved in what I was doing. I ended up not taking any books with me, so I took that choice completely off the table for myself. And it might have been that I may not have had time to do so, but I ended up avoiding doing something that I thoroughly enjoy as well. So it's also noticing that at the same time, and it's not about giving ourselves a hard time about the decisions we've made, but actually recognizing that we had that choice in the first place. And then we have a choice as to how we respond to it. And we've now got the woman, and as I said, when I put them out, it really feels like the divine feminine. So for centuries we've been working and living in a very masculine and very male dominated world. But the thing is, we have masculine and feminine within all of us. There is always a male side, a very logical, very right brain, left brain even, logical, thought orientated, thinking orientated, reacting orientated way of being within us. But there's also the more sensual, and this card fits in beautifully with the sacral. It is about that more feminine side of us, the softer side, but it's not always soft, and that is a mistake some of us make from time to time in thinking that to be a woman is to be soft, and it's not. It's about owning our feelings and really taking them on board and nurturing that as well, and nurturing our creativity and nurturing looking at a different way of being in the world around us at the same time. So for me, it is it isn't about a woman that's going to suddenly open up everything for us. It's about accessing, in a way, actually, it is. It's about accessing our femininity, our divine feminine within, to actually have that spark of creativity, that we don't get lost in the emotions of the choices we've made so far. It's acknowledging that and integrating that so that we can actually move more powerfully in the world, that we can actually start to create the world that we want to live in, and actually start to realize that we are creative beings, and that we can actually flow in that way when we communicate with each other, that we can find other people with like-minded ideas, and we can celebrate that. We can celebrate our feminine, but that isn't to disregard the masculine. But I think we've disregarded the feminine for so long that it's rebalancing that and actually opening up to those emotions that actually are very powerful, that stir us to actually want to do something different. It's in that emotion of love that we actually want to go out and connect with other people. It's in that emotion of love that we want to learn how to look at ourselves and feel better or differently about ourselves, to accept all of ourselves, the good, the bad, the ugly, the female and the male, and just being more integrated and more connected with moving forward. And in doing that, I really feel that our sacral area, our creative self, our sense of weaving new stories, weaving magic, will become more full and overflowing, so that we can actually bring out into the world the way of being that we would actually like to see out there. So I'm hoping that resonates for people out there, and that you enjoyed my story. And I'm going to see what sort of sound comes out for us today as well, and I'll see what ends up being accessed. I never know until I literally open my mouth. So here we go. So thank you ever so much for joining me again, and I am really hoping that there isn't such a long break between these storytellings again. I'm actually housebound now for a couple of weeks. If you're watching me on a daily basis, I would imagine if you're logging into this a couple of months or weeks down the line, then with a bit of luck I'll be allowed out of my house by then. Who knows? But I have no plans at the moment to leave the country again just yet. But I'm hoping that if I do, that I will have access to the internet to continue doing these. If you could hit that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. As I said at the beginning, I do individual storytellings as well, which will be tailored specifically to yourselves, so that you can find out what bit of information maybe you may be hiding from yourself in working out why you end up doing the same thing or feeling the same way on a regular basis, or that we end up getting really busy in life and we don't take time just to stop and see different information or feel about different things in a way to make choices based on all the information. And that's the way that I read or storytell. So if you are interested, please message me either through my website, which I'll put the information at the end. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. So any of those vehicles, you'll be able to get a hold of me. I do have some spaces available if you would like to organise that with me. Thank you ever so much for joining me, whether it's today or in the future, because I really feel that your energies do entwine in this no matter when you're watching it. So take care of yourselves, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. Take care. Love you.